back in your days when you had to take on a team from the AFC.
Hello, and welcome back to another Draft Player Analysis video. Today, I will be going over Kevin Dodd. Kevin Dodd, defensive end, Clemson. 6'5", 277 pounds. At Clemson, he was on the bench mostly for about 3 seasons, as he was, behind guys like Vic Beasley, Zach Lawson, and all of them, before becoming a full-time starter in 2015 season, I guess you could say, for college football. So he mostly, again, he was kind of a role player up until this year in college football, where he became the full-time starter and played very well. Kevin Dodd's career stats are 82 tackles, 26.5 tackles for a loss, 12.5 sacks, and 1 forced fumble. And most of that came this year. Almost all of those sacks came in 2015. And accolades-wise, I don't think I have much. The only thing I can really say is I think he was tied for the lead in the AAC in sacks this season. So there's that. But other than when it comes down to accolades, he didn't win pretty much anything. Overall, Kevin Dodd, I think, is a bit of a raw prospect currently, but we'll get into that soon. But I think that he could be one of the best prospects at defensive end to come out of his draft class if he develops properly.
Well, there's no doubt about it. This guy has a strong arm. That time he just sails the football.
So, let's get into the pros and cons. My first is he has a great combination of both speed and strength. He has good quickness, and he also has very good strength. He's gonna use his hands and his footwork to get around blockers. But there are some guys who will try to rip right through a guy, or some guys who just try and run around. I think he has a really good combination of both of those, major things.
McCoy's trying to be patient, but there is nowhere to run that time, and he only gets a short gain.
Next, uses both his hands and his feet. Again, he's going to either run around or run through you. He can do both. He has good enough footwork to do it, and he has good enough handwork to, rip off a blocker or, move a guy to the ground and just bull rush over him. He has the strength and the speed to do those things. It's just all about if he can do it at the NFL level. Again, these are much more talented individuals.
So good job by the quarterback, just throwing the ball and getting the catch and just getting a couple yards.
Next, has a really good motor. Gives great second efforts. He doesn't take many plays off. He's gonna be out there, and he's always gonna give a good second effort on a play. He'll get knocked on his ass, but he'll somehow get away from the guy and at least make an effort at the ball carrier, the quarterback, running back, whoever it is. He'll be blocked to the ground, and he'll still be able to make at least a decent effort to make a play on that ball. So, has a good motor, and he has great, second effort, which I kind of put in the same category. So, again, I just think that he has very solid, he has a good motor. He's gonna make some impressive plays when he's running around, and when he gets knocked over, he's gonna keep moving and try and make his way to the quarterback. And lastly, he has a lot of upside. I think his career can only get better from here, in my opinion, because, again, he had a very good junior season as a fourth-year junior. But he transferred, so he had to take that season off. And I think he was very good as a fourth-year junior. He showed a lot of promise and potential. and that's all I can really say for
Well, the
upside
quarterback
when it
has
comes to
such
that.
great confidence in
But
the receiver, and why not? He's talented.
overall, I think his,
He finds a way to
you know,
make
his
it get.
speed and strength are his biggest assets currently, and I think that if he continues to develop properly, he can use those to be a very effective pass rusher in the
He's a very
NFL.
smart runner. He knows situations in the game. He saw the first down yard markers, and
Next,
he knew he gets past them.
my
and picks
cons.
up the first down.
He doesn't have very many moves as a pass rusher. Meaning he's not gonna, you know, he's not gonna pull out a Dwight Freeney spin move on a guy. He's not gonna have this nasty swim move where he gets the perfect hit on him and gets right by the guy. He doesn't have many moves like that. So he's mostly either, you know, a bull rush guy, or he's kind of a guy who's gonna use one or two big, you know, one or two big moves to try and make him men miss. So he has to adapt his game to make that less, you know, less like knowing that it's going to be coming. Because guys like that, you know it's coming and you have a way to block it. If he starts to, you know, round out his repertoire when it comes to pass rushing moves, you know, he adds a nice spin move in there, adds a nice swim move, you know, has a great bend if he gets under his blockers. He just needs to add those moves and continue to improve those. And again, a great coaching staff, a great defensive coach can definitely teach him how to do that stuff. Next, I have him ranked as two separate things, but I can technically consider them two separate things. First is he was a one-year wonder, which, again, you get a lot of guys like that in collegiate football where they have one amazing season and they burn out almost immediately in the NFL. You know, they had just a great season. Then their first year in the NFL, you just kind of assume that it's because they're a rookie. And the year after that, and they just keep getting worse and worse. So that's always a concern to keep in mind. Ooh, is that Kiko Alonso? I probably should have took him off the team. Oh, good. But I'm not Kiko Alonso. I'm dumb. I forgot. He got traded beforehand. Forget I said that. I feel like an idiot now. But what was I saying? Oh, one-year wonder. So again, he's the kind of guy who's not going to have the most, who could potentially just be a complete another bust day one. You know, he had one amazing season in college football, and he's not going to, you know, be able to continue to use the talent that I think he has to his advantage, because he already used it all in that one season. You know, he already showed what he can do, and that's his maximum potential. It's kind of hard to describe, like, why one-year wonders will burn out sometimes, but it happens. So we'll see. And last, consistency. He just needs to have better. He has to have more consistent games. You know, when he was at Clemson, there were some games where he would have, you know, a sack and a half, and he would, you know, have like 4 or 5 tackles and just have an amazing game. You know, really, you know, flex his muscles, show everything that he can do. And there were some games where he'd be a complete non-factor, you know, 1 tackle maybe, no tackles for a loss, you know, not a sack, maybe like 1 quarterback hurry, things like that. He just has to be more consistent with his play and continue to, again, evolve his game as he, you know, improves at the NFL level. So that's all I really have for cons. I think that he has to just continue to evolve his game and just learn how to be an overall better player by the time he is. I'm going to say in his 3rd year, he has to become a good enough player that he can at least show that he has flashes of potential. He already has the potential. He has to show flashes that that potential will be fulfilled. And I'll usually give guys 2 years, and that 3rd year is, you know, the deadline year, in my mind. So, but that being said, I currently have Kevin Dodd ranked as a mid to late first-round prospect, mostly because I think, again, this mostly goes back to his talent and
here we go.
you know, how he will continue to develop. So this is all based upon, you know, his one season, which isn't always the best bet. But I think this guy has that talent and that, you know, that it factor to be a guy in the NFL that can be a consistent, solid player who can get it done week in, week out. I'm not saying he's going to be the next J.J. Watt by far, no. But he can definitely be a consistently solid guy who will be there for almost every single play, hopefully. So, my teams of interest start with the Detroit Lions. I think that Detroit definitely should go defensive line or offensive line in this draft class. I'm saying they go defensive line the first pick, and if he is there and they really want to find a guy to pair up with Ziggy Ansah on the outside, I think that Kevin Dodd would be a good, you know, fit. You know, a bit of a quick, athletic type guy to line up against an incredibly athletic, speedy guy who has, you know, great movement and everything, and Ziggy Ansah. So, again, they can have two very good edge rushers who can pretty much take over a game. I think once he developed, Ziggy Ansah developed incredibly, and he is now one of the best pass rushers in the NFL, I believe. Next, I have the Atlanta Falcons. Again, pair him up with his old teammate Vic Beasley, and just have those two, you know, do their thing. I mean, I think Vic Beasley will play very well this season. I think he can definitely develop into that kind of guy who can be a very slim, athletic, you know, speed rushing guy. I think putting Kevin Dodd on the opposite side of that could be a, you know, a big issue for some offensive tackle tandems. So again, he just needs to develop. Next, I have the Buffalo Bills. Mario Williams is out the door. I really don't know who their backup is. I don't know if he's any good. So I think defensive end is a huge priority for them right now because they have one defensive end on their roster that's, you know, a name that people actually know, and that's Jerry Hughes. Marcel Darius is a rock on the inside. He's going to be a guy that's going to stay there and, you know, block the run, and he can even make plays in the passing game. But it's mostly about getting another edge guy across from Jerry Hughes, who had a solid season last year. And I think that Kevin Dodd can develop into that guy. They can even start him year one if they really need to. Next, I have the New York Jets. They franchise Muhammad Wilkerson, so if they can't get a contract done with him, they're not going to have him. Sheldon, oh, God, the other defensive end. I'm drawing a blank on his name. Sheldon Richardson, I think. I think they have him playing defensive end or D-tackle. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure his contract's going to be up next season or the season after. So I think they're going to have to replace one of those two guys at defensive end. I don't even think Muhammad Wilkerson really plays defensive end, to be honest. I think he plays tackle mostly with Todd Bowles. But they still need to find a young, athletic edge rusher. I think Kevin Dodd would be a great fit for Todd Bowles' defense. And Bowles is a defensive mastermind. I think the guy's pretty much a genius when it comes to coverages on defense and, you know, just getting the most out of players. And I think he can definitely help Kevin Dodd develop very well. Next, I have Washington. I honestly have no clue who is on the Washington defensive line. I could probably name two players on the Washington defense. Ryan Kerrigan and... Jeez, I don't even know. I can name one player. I can name Ryan Kerrigan. Oh, and Perry Riley. There, two players. So I think they need,
The Giants will take the snap.
they need a young guy who could step in, hopefully develop into a solid player.
The Giants
Ooh, laid a fucking shot on Odell Beckham.
The Bills' offense back on the field as this game has turned into
But-
just a big mess, Phil, as no one seems to be able to hold on to the football.
Nobody can hold on to the
I lost my
football.
train of thought.
The
But
calling of
I think
plays
that,
is also
a bit of an influx of youth in Washington to continue that team's upward swing. They finally have their quarterback, who I thought it wasn't all along. I always liked Kirk Cousins.
gonna wear that defense out.
So,
No doubt
but
about
Kirk
it.
Cousins was also always my type of quarterback. I prefer drop back pocket guys who have those flashes of athleticism. And I think Kirk Cousins is that kind of guy.
42-yard line.
But Washington should definitely start building up their defense. I mean, their offense is solid. Maybe some help along the offensive line interiorly. And maybe a second running back. I think Matt Jones is going to be their guy this year.
Here in the final
So I think they need a guy to take some of the load off him. He's a bit of a bigger guy, 6'1", 200-some pounds.
That last running play was
So
good for
maybe they
40
can go running
yards,
back,
so
but
it's second
that's
down and
probably at a
9.
later
The
point.
Bills lined up, bunch formation.
Next, I have Houston. Houston's definitely drafting a defensive end. I believe if there's one available,
For just a second,
that's worth
then
taking.
it came out on
I had them taking one in my
Good
mock
job by
draft.
the defensive player
I
that
won't
time.
spoil who it is,
He gets to the receiver,
but I won't be doing a video on him, mostly because I don't have the time.
knocks that football loose.
Will go ground.
So I think that if Kevin Dodd's there,
Bring
Houston
us to
should
fourth
definitely
down.
take him
That's a timeout.
and line him up across from J.J. Watt. Those two can form an incredible defensive end tandem, and those two could be scary together. I mean, watching those two on the field at the same time playing would be a scary sight,
That punt sets up the defense now. An excellent
especially if Kevin Dodd developed into the player I think he can be.
inside the 10.
Those two coming off the edge would
Every
be
snap crucial
incredible.
The rest of the way. The Bills come out.
Next up, the Seattle Seahawks. I think they have to start rebuilding a little bit. I think they're in a bit of like a little bit of a rebuild process right now. They have to fix their offensive line, obviously. But I think besides Cliff Averill, who I'm pretty sure is still
Good
on the
job of
team,
hurrying up and getting on that football and
but
trying to get the
besides Cliff Averill, I don't know if they really have another solid defensive end. Again, draft Kevin Dodd, let him develop, and they can play them for another Super Bowl run, probably in a year or two. I think Seattle
Holding on.
definitely won't have another big Super Bowl run for another year or two in my mind.
Larry Donnell has the catch.
Next is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Pressure on
This is
every
mostly if they believe that he can
wasting
step out and play outside linebacker, because I think that that's a bit of a need. They need a guy behind Justin Houston who they can trust. Justin Houston's been hurt quite a bit,
coming up, second down.
so I think they need a guy who they can trust.
They'll go to the
And Tamba Hali's getting older. Do they believe D Ford can be the replacement for Tamba Hali? If not, do they think Kevin Dodd could stand up, take his hand out of the dirt and be a solid contributor?
No doubt he was going to hold on to that one.
Or, again, they can keep his hand in the dirt. I don't
The
remember what kind
NFL,
of
it's all
defense
about
Kansas City really
situations now.
runs.
You're down. There's under 2 minutes to go. Good job by the
But
offensive player. He picks up some
we
good
will see.
yards.
But
and gets out of
I believe that Kevin Dodd could probably stand up and play outside. Would probably take him a little bit of time to learn how to play it.
Catch is made by Daniel Fenn.
But overall,
The Giants use another timeout here,
Dodd's a solid
and they
player.
have one
I
left.
just realized where I am on
Second and
time.
two coming up.
Carolina,
Here for Eli
definitely
Manning.
could pick him. Charles Johnson's getting older. They almost let him walk this year. But again, they re-signed him to a bit of a, more team-friendly deal. So Carolina can find their eventual replacement for Charles Johnson. Next, I have the Denver Broncos. They're the last team I have. I don't think he falls out of the first round. If he does, I'll be surprised, but I think he has first-round talent. Denver has to replace Malik Jackson some way or another. I think that Kevin Dodd would be a good replacement eventually, but I think Denver needs to more or less find guys who can start right now. This team needs to rely on their defense this coming season with no quarterback that they can trust on the roster. I've been hearing rumors of Johnny Manziel, which, my God, if John Elway puts Johnny Manziel on that roster, I will lose all my respect for John Elway. But Denver has more glaring needs. But I think defensive end, if they can find a talented guy, I have them drafting one. But I'll keep that a secret for a little bit longer. But I think Denver will draft defensive end to replace Malik Jackson. But overall, I believe that with the 19th overall pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills will select Kevin Dodd, defensive end, Clemson, because they need to find a replacement for Mario Williams. Jerry Hughes has his side locked down pretty much. So I think they need to find a young guy who they can eventually develop into their all-time starter and continue to improve that defensive line, which should be one of the best defensive units in the NFL in maybe a year. Not next year, but maybe the year after. And I think Kevin Dodd can be a huge contributor to that if he develops properly and becomes the player that I believe he can be. But for now, this is J-Wax. Oh, yeah, also, Noah Spence is coming up next, and then I will be going right into my linebackers, starting with, drum roll please, pretty much anyone who's watched these videos will probably know who it is. I don't know if you heard that, but Myles Jack. Love Myles Jack. My favorite player in this draft class. He's number 1 on my big board, per se. I don't really have one. But for now, this is J-Wax, signing off.